So, without saying anything further, please join me in giving a warm North Iowa welcome to Speaker Newt Gingrich.
First of all, I want to say thank you to all of you for coming out today, and I want to thank, in particular, Linda Uppmeyer, who wanted to be here. I had dinner with her last night, and she said that the Democratic Majority Leader had decided they should negotiate this morning, and I asked if it was because maybe he knew that she was supposed to be here, and she said, well, she didn't want to say, but it wouldn't have surprised her. So anyway, she asked me to say hi to everybody and to apologize. I also want to thank Henry and Gary for being here. It's really great to have you out. First of all, as all of you know, or I assume you know because that's why you're here, I am running for president. And I need your help, and I need the help of anybody you know. And I'd ask you at the end of today, if this all makes sense, when you go home, to either Twitter or email or Facebook or whatever you do, any of your friends you think might want to help, and have them go to my first name, just newt.org, which is where our website is. But I want to talk for a couple minutes about the heart of this campaign. And I want to share with you what I think will be the most important single statement around which to build policy over the next 10 or 20 years. Can you all hear me in the very back? Am I projecting far? You can't quite hear me? Let me, I don't want to get out of, will you still be able to pick me up? What I want to share with you is a very simple principle, which I think really helps you understand why we are currently in trouble. It's a slogan, 2 + 2 = 4, for those of you in the back area. It came from a film Callista and I did about Pope John Paul II going back to Poland in 1979, called 9 Days That Changed the World. And the Polish people, in their struggle with the Soviet Empire, made posters. I have an original poster from Solidarity that says in Polish, "For Poland to remain Poland, 2 + 2 must always = 4." And what they were saying was that the truth matters. 2 + 2 = 4 is a truth. And if the Supreme Court said next week, oh, 2 + 2 = 5 from now on, you wouldn't go home and change your math book. You'd know the Supreme Court was just plain wrong. Now, the reason that concept of truth matters is our Declaration of Independence, our founding political document, says we hold these truths to be self-evident. Doesn't say philosophy, doesn't say ideology, it says truths. That all men are created equal, and that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, the reason this matters is America is the only country in history which has said power comes from God to each one of you personally. You are personally sovereign, and you loan power to the government. The government does not loan power to you. Now, why does that matter? Because it comes down to a core question. Is the center of America its citizens? Or is the center of America Washington? And the Founding Fathers would have said, the center of America is its citizens. And therefore, when you start setting up a gigantic government with bureaucrats telling you what to do, and with politicians redesigning everything from Washington, you know that we are not operating the way we were designed to. So this campaign will have three focuses. The first focus will be jobs and the economy. The second focus will be American exceptionalism versus this Washington-centered, very different idea. And the third focus will be national and homeland security. Let me talk for a minute about jobs and the economy. This has to be the first focus when you have the current price of gasoline, the current level of unemployment, and the current housing crisis. You know, 27% of all American homes are now worth less than the mortgage. Now, you can't fix that without creating jobs, because the only way you get housing prices back up is for people to have enough take-home pay to pay for it. America only works when Americans are working. And we're at 9% unemployment, 15% if you count underemployed and those who quit looking. Now, this also happens to be the biggest single step to balancing the budget. When I was Speaker, and we balanced the budget for 4 straight years, we did it partly by controlling spending. We brought the word no to the budgeting process. We did it in part by reforming things. We reformed welfare, the largest entitlement reform that we've had, and 2 out of 3 people went back to work or went to school. And we had the first tax cut in 16 years, and in the process, unemployment went from 5.6% when I became Speaker till shortly after I left the speakership, it was just below 4%. Now, that took people off of food stamps into jobs, off of unemployment into jobs, off of Medicaid into jobs. All of a sudden, government spending went down and tax revenues went up, which is what you want. Now, as a result, we balanced the federal budget for 4 straight years and paid off $405 billion in debt. So let's apply it to right now. If we had a big impact by going from 5.6 down to 4, can you imagine the impact we have if we went from 9 down to 4? If that many million people got off unemployment and food stamps and welfare and Medicaid and got back into earning a living, taking care of their family, and paying taxes, that's the biggest single step you can take to balancing the federal budget. So how do you do that? Well, I was a very junior congressman helping Ronald Reagan do exactly that. And basically it came down to 3 things. Cut taxes to incentivize growth, eliminate red tape and regulations to encourage growth, and be proud of the people who create jobs. Make them feel good about succeeding. The opposite of where Obama is. He wants to raise taxes, increase the bureaucracy, and attack the people who create jobs. And then he wonders why we don't have jobs. So, 3 parts to job creation in a Gingrich presidency. Part 1 is taxes, just like Reagan. There are 5 steps. 1, no tax increase in 2013. In a weak economy, you don't raise taxes, so we should eliminate any tax increase in the current code. 2, we live in a world market. There's capital all around the world. If we went to 0 capital gains, money would pour into the United States to create new factories and new companies and to put people to work. 3, we ought to go to 100% expensing for all equipment, including farm equipment and agriculture, which means you would write it off in 1 year. The goal is simple. We want every American to have the newest, most productive, most modern, most creative equipment in the world so that they can actually go out and compete. The Germans pay 50% more than we do for manufacturing labor, and they have the lowest unemployment they've had in 19 years. Because they work on being productive and they work on exports. 4, we should adopt the Irish corporate tax rate of 12.5%. And here's the great irony. If we go from 35%, the highest tax rate in the world for our company.
Can I have your attention please, Jefferson Line passengers? This is your first boarding call for Jefferson bus to Waterloo. Thank you.
Yeah, I should ask if I can borrow that. So if you go from 35% down to 12.5%, here's the great irony. I'm willing to predict we will get more taxes out of General Electric at 12.5 than we're currently getting at 35, because they're currently paying 0. And why are they paying 0? There's a 35% it's worth their while to hire 375 tax attorneys who spend all day every day finding loopholes to avoid payment. But at 12.5%, they'd fire half the attorneys and start paying their taxes. And so you'd actually, ironically, have a more competitive country with companies better able to compete with more revenue out of a lower tax rate. Finally, I think we have to permanently abolish the death tax because it is a culturally destructive tax and it is fundamentally wrong to say to somebody, if you work all your life, you save all your life, a politician is going to step in and take your money when you pass away. So we should just abolish it permanently and get rid of it.